UnTrending truth about.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for showing up today. This is our second show, and we are so excited. I'm here with
Hi, Carolyn Parker again.
Carolyn Parker again. Thank you so much for joining us. Um, I want to start off by doing the disclaimers. Like I said, this is our second show, and so we'll be recapping what happened in the first show, and we will give everybody a chance to decide or to realize if they want to be here or not. So the first disclaimer is if you are not a Christian or a Bible believer and aren't interested in gaining the understanding and the opinions and beliefs and experience of the people that are on this platform and the topics that will be discussed on this platform, this might not be the show for you. Also, I say what I'm about to say with truthfulness and positivity. If you ask me, I am a hypocrite, period, point blank, just period. I am a sinner according to the word of God. Um, just because I enjoy it, I choose to, or I like the sin, or I like to sin, doesn't make it not a sin or not right. And it is delusional and narcissistic to omit certain instructions and commands from God that are simply written to benefit all of us, period. So basically, just because one likes to sin or whatever doesn't make it right. Either way it goes, last week we were talking to Miss Karen Lynn Parker. We have her bio and everything in the information below. Also, you can go back and check on the first episode. But we are talking with her. We actually discussed her experience from kindergarten. Was it Karen? Kindergarten?
Yes, kindergarten, yes.
Up until a cliffhanger. Was it fourth grade? Nine? Well,
Yes, it was fourth grade, 9 years old.
9 years old, fourth grade. And the recap for those of you that are just tuning in, and for first of all, it is the second show, and we didn't even announce the name of the show. It is the UnTrending Truth. We have to get used to this. And the UnTrending
Yes.
show about not so popular and unconventional topics being discussed. So I need to say that just as well as I gave the, like I said, the disclaimers for people to make the decision if they want to be here and continue to listen and, like I said, gain the understanding of which will now be Karen's experience. So from last week, Karen spoke from being 5 years old, kindergarten, and being bullied. Yeah.
Yes.
And
From,
go ahead.
oh, okay, yeah, from 5 years old, which was kindergarten, being bullied, like you said. Then there was first grade, from making sure I claimed that I wouldn't be bullied again. And then third grade was basically pretty mellow, just, remembering the nice teachers that I had then in third grade, having some of the friends that I met from um, first grade, second grade. Oh, and let me go back to second grade, because second grade was my most favorite teacher ever. So if I can, I mentioned her name last time, so it's okay to mention her name again. Miss
Not a bad
Cooner.
thing.
Yes, definitely Miss Cooner was one of the best teachers that I've ever had. So going from second grade, then the third grade, Miss Schumann was my teacher then. And I always, like I said, remembered her with her crooked smile. That always made me remember her. And then I left you with fourth grade with a cliffhanger saying that for some reason going from kindergarten to third grade and then getting into fourth grade, I don't know, as early as I can remember, as a 9-year-old, something did switch in me,
Mm.
and I said that it left me telling you that I was promiscuous,
Yeah, and
and
that definitely
promiscuous.
was. Uh-huh.
That was a definite cliffhanger, but promiscuous to me at 9, not even knowing what the word was back then. But as I got older, of course, knowing that promiscuous is that, how would you say it in such a nice way? You you were very
Curious
active,
sexually.
curious,
Sexually.
sexually, you know, um, and at such a young age. So happened to me up until that point that I was always wanting to know to make me that way.
Well, so
So
now that
that
we have the recap and we will basically start off where we left off. For the people that weren't here last week or that haven't caught up on the first show yet, in your own words, before we get started and before we continue on, can you tell us why we're here?
Well, yes, we're here because I am wanting the world to know about my deliverance of coming out of homosexuality
Mm.
and what God has done for my life. So I want to share it in hopes that it will help change someone else's life.
Mm. Yeah, and that's real and it's serious, and this is your experience.
Yes, it
So
is.
yeah, if you can pretty much pick up where you left off. Also, last time you gave your own disclaimer, which I felt was
Yes.
very helpful as well. So you can go ahead.
Well, my disclaimer for me is to say this is my story. It is. It's no really wrong or a right way to say it because this is what I feel is happened to me. So I just want to be truthful and tell it like it is.
Yeah, and that's the only thing and the only way that you can do and tell is like it is for you, from you, you know,
Yes, definitely.
period. Okay, so fourth grade, what school did you attend? I don't know. I guess we can say the names of the institutions. Can we?
Yes,
Anyway, was it a
I believe
private school,
so.
public school?
It was actually a private school, Trinity Lutheran to be exact.
Oh, we can say the names.
Just put
uh,
it out there.
yeah, exactly. So perfect. Trinity Lutheran, fourth grade, and this was in your mind, in your experience, a turning point. You said. So tell us about it.
Well, as you know, just to go back and recap just a little bit, when I was telling you about third grade, when I felt like I started having feelings for a little girl
Mm.
and didn't really understand what that was coming from. And I think that was one reason of kindergarten was such an experience with somebody being so mean. And then third grade, I had somebody, which was another girl, but she was so nice.
Mm.
So I sort of internalized that as I think I like her,
Mm.
not understanding what that really meant.
Right.
But sorry, my phone just went off.
It's okay.
Um,
We can't hear it. Or I didn't hear it.
oh, okay. So yeah, but not knowing what that really meant. So fourth grade, when that came around, it was not a girl, but it was a boy.
Mm.
Um, I guess I liked him. I wasn't sure that I did,
Was he cute?
but um, every day. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Was he cute?
I guess not as cute as Roger in kindergarten. No, no, not as cute as Roger.
I would like to see both of them today.
So, yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah,
And
so like, did you know
but
this
no,
guy
not
from
hardly.
before? Did you meet him? Were you guys the same race? Like, what was the background with you and this young man?
Yeah, I think what it was that we were at an all white school. So to have, he was black, to
Okay.
have somebody black come into your school is almost like you're drawn to anybody of the same color.
Mhm.
So I believe that was the reason. And yes, back then, I guess, yeah, he was cute.
Mhm.
But in myself not knowing, low self-esteem at a young age plays a big part in any type of your decisions that you make.
Yeah.
So when you get what's the word, a boy to notice you and
Attention.
you really don't feel pretty, yeah, he notices you and he gives you attention. Well, that attention can be taken and, you know come in, I guess, a wrong form.
Misconstrued.
And in my thinking back then, that attention led to, am I even allowed to say it led into like a sexual type
What do you mean? Are you allowed to
situation?
say? You're allowed to say whatever you want.
Okay,
Yes.
so yes, then I will be very frank and honest to say, at 9 years old, imagine every day for some reason we used to go to a hall closet, and me and this boy, we would actually have oral sex
What?
every
You,
day.
how would you know to do that? Like,
I,
what have you visited that? Like, what? How would? Where did that
I'm
start?
still trying to visit that.
Yeah, you need to.
I
That
honestly,
is that is deep. That is
that is very deep. You're talking 9 years old,
like what do you even
and I
well,
still
who knew
ponder, I
about
still
it? Did you
pray.
know anything about that?
I didn't. So I figured it was something that he brought to me, and I must have just acted on it. I don't know, out of not wanting to disappoint. And if you can think of a child thinking that they don't want to disappoint someone,
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
you know,
If we feel like that as adults,
uh,
I
exactly,
mean, if you're a people pleaser, you're a people pleaser. It didn't start when you were 40. You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like that stuff starts young. We're
It
young.
started,
Yeah,
yeah,
doing this
it started,
stuff
and
when
as you
we are
see, it
people.
started young. It started probably before 9, but always wanting to please and make people happy and, do for people.
Oh,
And sometimes doing for people comes in a very negative way. So
or it
that
comes with a
is,
price.
yeah. And that was something that happened, I can honestly say, every day. And honestly, I don't even know how we never got caught.
And then two black kids.
Two black kids.
Did they let you guys do it? Maybe they thought like that was fellowship. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I'm just saying like
I have,
like what in the
you know,
world? Like that when you
I
think, yeah.
still to this day try to wonder, how do you get away from a crowd of people when you're supposed to be going to your classes and you end up away in a closet?
Every day.
And who knows, for a child it
Crazy.
seems like, yeah, and it seems like 10 minutes can be 5 minutes, but it could have been 15 to 20 minutes. It's just that the time frame wasn't really,
Yeah.
something I can say, but all I know is it was a everyday event. Wow.
Yeah, that's alarming. Um, and when you think about it now, like if you knew,
Either I left.
what'd you say?
Oh no, I thought it was frozen for a minute.
Yeah, it could have been. But thinking now, but even back then, if you knew then what you know now, like what, what, as a 9-year-old little girl, what would you have said? What would you have done? Like what, knowing what you know now? Like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine.
Definitely would have told a teacher.
Yeah,
Definitely would have told a teacher. Definitely would have told my parents.
yeah,
You know, definitely would have told someone in authority,
yeah,
because yeah, not knowing, you know, what the repercussions would have been as a child, you know, going to somebody to tell somebody something like that. Um, I don't know if I was ever threatened by that boy
yeah,
not to,
yeah,
but yeah, definitely would have told somebody in higher authority.
yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing is what, if any, what would your message be like to the parents or adults, or like how would your parents have known? Or I mean, you're 9 and you're in the 4th grade and that's happening in the midst of your day. So like what, I don't know. Was anybody asking about your day then? Was it like the same thing continuously? Like what?
Yeah, you have a way of hiding stuff when you're a kid.
Yeah.
So you have a way of acting whatever is normal when you're a child and some things are going on and you don't want someone to know about it, an adult or a sister or a brother,
Yeah.
a friend. So you have a way. We as individuals become very manipulative at an early age. We learn how to manipulate.
Yeah. Born
So
into sin.
you do so nobody is yeah, they don't you don't let them in to what's going on,
Mm. Yeah. Like I said,
you know.
we're born into sin, so we know
Oh
how
yeah,
to,
definitely born into sin.
yeah,
Definitely
manipulate, fix your hair.
craftiness,
Yeah. Yeah. All that. I mean, all that.
all of it.
It's yeah, lies, deception, manipulation, or whatever. And
Yeah.
a lot of times it carries into adulthood where you just do and say things that benefit you, which is unfortunate, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
But yeah, that is
you learn that
definitely
very early,
very early, and
very
sometimes
early.
it's never lost. um,
Yeah,
wow.
never
Okay,
lost.
so now what would make, in retrospect, thinking back, what would you think was going on, or even for any children to be caught in that act or to be engaging in something like that at that age? What do, now that you know what you know
Mhm.
in life, like what do you see or what do
Yeah,
you think?
definitely, definitely. Somebody is either you know, you have gotten shown something in a, let's say, a friend, or you've been touched. Um, you've gone to somebody's house. Maybe if parents let you spend the night over somebody's house, you might have come in contact with a older sibling at that friend's house or something to that degree, or is it something that you saw and you just sort of internalized it and you sort of um, took it and used it to your own, I don't know, it's hard to say advantage, because even with that, going back, um, masturbation was a big thing too, because
At
one
that age?
goes with the other
At that
at that
age?
age. Oh yes, definitely, definitely.
But okay,
Yes.
so I guess this is my thing. What I know about life and what I know about different things is once you are exposed to something, once you are exposed to, if it's pornography, whatever it is, something that you should not be exposed to, those images and that whole spirit of everything does not go away.
No, it's like sort of seared in your mind, you're thinking.
Well, it's not
So
supposed to be there.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said it's not supposed to be there, especially if you're a child.
Oh,
At
definitely not
9
supposed
years,
to be
yeah,
there. Even
go ahead.
born into sin,
Mhm.
we, like I said, we're born into sin, but there's some things that we see, that we pick up on, that, like I said, at an early age, not before 9 that I can remember that I was molested,
Mhm.
but I definitely would say, because of that magnitude of what I was doing and experienced,
Yeah,
something I saw, something was done to me. Um, I have to pretty much say that in that fourth grade, that could have been that very first experience with that boy
gateway.
there, because up until then, I don't remember anything happening to that magnitude. So I could honestly say I believe he came with something and he showed me,
Yeah, yeah,
and I acted on it, because needing that attention
yeah,
type of thing.
easily.
Yeah.
Unfortunately and easily. And like you said, just needing that attention, you just almost can lose yourself needing attention and affection and basic needs, and it's
Yes.
unfortunate. But I've just always felt like when you are exposed to something before your time, um, especially anything sexual as a child, you are traumatized. You'll never be the same. Um, like I said, it's like a gateway, and the spirit of perversion or anything has, um, been ushered in. It's opened the doors.
Definitely.
And how do you feel
Definitely.
about that?
Yeah. I think it's like that, just what you said about once you're exposed to something, no matter if it's, you know, you saw a picture, somebody could have said something to you, you could have went and I want to say that I could have went and saw a movie, and got an image and but definitely if you see something and that image does sear your thinking, you find yourself acting on certain things.
Yeah,
And yeah, and that's what I have to say, that what I started doing.
yeah. Thoughts become things. Once it starts in the mind,
And things become action.
and things
Right.
become actions. Exactly. If you allow it, if you don't nip it in the bud. And so it's
In the
easy
bud.
as a child. I mean, what are you supposed to do? You understand? And some children may tell, it just all depends on the personality traits and the temperament, just whatever on that little adult, that person. But if you are a child, if you are a people pleaser, if you are someone that has low self-esteem and in need of just basic attention, it's not going to be the same story or outcome, you know like um literally, what is that?
That was my phone. Sorry.
Anyway, but literally, you will go down a different path because it's like, all the word is just exposed. Your innocence and everything has been kind of busted open before it's time.
Yeah.
You understand? And
And I can say what I've heard as I've gotten older, where someone put it best, where it's like it's contradicting because it's like a feeling that feels so good to your body,
yeah,
but it's contradicting because it's wrong and you know it's wrong. So your body and your mind is at conflict with each other, I should say. So it's a conflicting feeling within yourself.
and it really is that conflicting feeling way before it's time, especially at
Oh
9 years
yeah,
old.
definitely.
That's a
9 years
conflicting,
old, yeah,
yeah, that's a conflicting feeling. That's just too much information way before its time, period. Let alone being convicted and knowing when something is wrong. But when you're doing
exactly.
stuff, you got people just, with kids, in, infants, 4 or 5, whatever years old. And so, like you're saying, 9 years old, like you had to be influenced, but you went along with it. And did it happen all year? Like what was the frequency? Every day, but for how long, or do you remember that?
That's probably
Mm,
sketchy in my mind,
yeah,
but even with that, I would say as a child, it had to be months,
yuck.
you know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it had to be months.
Now you think it's a dirty little
Months
nine-year-old
feel like
penis?
years then, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
dirty little 9-year-old penis. It's just-
Yeah, yeah, you look back, hindsight, thinking
yeah.
about it, but so this is one of those little footnotes that I would say to a parent though, just don't assume your children are just going to school. You know, you have to make conversation with them to find out what's going on because I mean, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is the scary part about it. And the scary part about it is, a lot of times we can get so busy, so caught up in just our day-to-day
Mm.
lives, which we're really not that busy. Whatever that we are caught up on and in is not that important, versus just taking time, even if it's 10 minutes. 10 minutes can make a difference. Consistent time, just
Right.
feeding into, yeah, just sowing into your child or even your spouse, yourself. 10 minutes consistently can make a difference. So um,
And yeah, it adds up if you do that every day.
that's what I'm saying. Exactly. But I have a teenager now, so it's a learning process, but it's just not easy. Parenting is not easy
No, like they said, it didn't come with a handbook.
at all, ever.
It
Still
really, it
hasn't.
really didn't.
It still doesn't have one.
Yeah, I'm saying, has anybody invented one yet?
I know, right? Exactly. The Bible.
Yeah, the Bible, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's a learning experience too.
it is. Well, I mean, it's pretty hard, but let's move on from fourth grade, which is really as just human beings and parents now, grandparents, is really hard to hear or to know that type of action and that type of behavior was happening to you at such a young age back then.
Yeah,
And then so from fourth grade,
yeah.
like that was happening. Was that the biggest thing that stood out, or like what else was within fourth grade transitioning to fifth grade?
Fourth grade, like I said, for some reason, I always remember my teachers, regardless. I mean, um, my fourth grade teacher, I remember her. Her name was Miss Firstenau. Once again, another nice teacher. Had her son was in my class, and pretty much fourth grade was an experimental time where I feel like it tainted me
Mm,
a lot when it comes to feeling like my innocence was definitely lost.
yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, there were still, I mean, fun times, you know, like I said, I always was athletic, like sports. So I compensated that with playing, you know, ball all the time and stuff like that. But when you play ball and you like doing stuff like that, but then in the back of your mind, you still know that you've done all this other, I guess you could say, bad stuff.
Yeah.
That sort of overshadows all the other stuff in your experience of 9 years old.
So at
You
that
know,
time and at that age and at that stage in your life, how did you categorize or separate the two? Being so young and doing something like, I don't know, I just couldn't even imagine during the day or whatever, not brushing my teeth or, I'm kidding. No, I'm not. But you know what I mean? Especially or you now. Oh my God. But
yeah.
how do you like how did you separate the two? How were you a child and then doing, performing these acts, or how did that work, if that even makes sense?
I think I lost you for a moment because I just got half of what you said.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, as far as like when you are a child and then you are experiencing those really adult-like experiences, how do you separate the two? How did you separate the two? How did you live with that as a 9-year-old?
You know, that's a very good question. I don't even know if I did a very good job at doing that
Mm,
because, like I said, from the time that I was 9, I never stopped. You know, being promiscuous. It just
mm,
it just carried on
yeah.
all the way up until my what middle school, teenage, adult life.
Until last
So to
week.
yeah. I, yeah. That's funny.
No, but no, really. Like it just, yeah, it just, I mean, at 9 years old, like how do you know to separate? Like that's a spiritual thing.
Right. You try to be a 9-year-old. You try to be the best 9-year-old that you can, that you know how to be. But then you got these other adult things that you're dealing with also. So you separate them the best way you know how.
Yeah,
Because I was very good at not letting people know. Apparently, nobody knew.
yeah. And
So you separate, the turmoil didn't separate,
that's so
you
sad.
know. It is very sad. And I say this and I convey this because I want parents to really know that when your children are struggling with certain things in their life,
Mm,
you really need to know the magnitude of where it can carry them.
mm,
It doesn't just stop like, oh, that was 8, 9, 10.
mm.
It literally can go to the rest of your life if you don't get any help for it. So I stress in the fact that talk to your kids. Try to understand, if they're going through something, take the time and listen to them.
But spiritually, or who you are now, or and what you know now, what else could help, or what else could be a factor with your children and even grandchildren?
Taking time, I always stress on taking time, being a teacher and then, meeting a lot of different children in life and getting to see their personalities and their behaviors, and everybody is so different.
Yeah.
But it's just like, let them be their own individual person because everybody's not the same. everybody's personalities are different. So
Mhm.
you got to really learn people for who they are as individuals
Yeah.
and get to know them and let them, spend that individual quality time with them by themselves to learn them by themselves. And then it'll just, you know,
Yeah.
they'll get closer to you, you get closer to them,
Yeah. It's really like psychology,
and
I think.
you make those bonds. You build those bonds with, especially with your children. Psychology.
No, I'm just saying, I think it's just like
I think I got.
psychology, like
Oh,
human development, child psychology. You have to kind of be a
mm,
therapist or a psychologist to really look at each individual person, child, or whatever, because no one is the same. We're all unique, we're all different. And so you
no, no,
can't,
not at all.
yeah, you can't deal with people with a one track mind or a one track ideology or anything like that because everyone is so different. And so that's why I just
So
be like,
different.
yeah, that's why I mean you have to be like a psychologist in order to deal, especially parenting. It's just not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, if you come from a big household like we did,
Yeah.
you got 8 individual little people,
It's crazy.
all different.
All needing your
So
attention, all seeking, something from these two people, which we were blessed to have, two parents, a two-parent household,
yes,
a family. Um,
definitely.
yeah, but all seeking and needing and demanding something different from both and each parent who's seeking their freedom and who figuring out who they are. And I mean, of course, we don't know that as kids.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely, being a psychologist, kind of having an understanding, like you're saying, of your child. It's really a lot of this is just taking time
Taking time. Taking
and not a
time.
lot.
That's taking time is a key word for real.
And not a
You
lot.
know.
And so let's see, what other, sorry, my family's having a conversation. I don't know if you can hear them, but
Oh
what,
no, I can't.
okay.
Um,
But I'm saying, look,
any other
so
events though?
yeah, so from fourth grade, which I mean that was the opening, the gateway,
The
to
gateway.
yeah, promiscuity and go on.
And then, so remember that I said that we went to Trinity Lutheran School. Like, um, it was as I guess you would say it was not really that diverse. It was like a lot more. It's a lot of white people also there, but it was a few black people there. So fifth grade, I remember we were getting ready for school and we were upstairs, and I remember coming down the stairs and all of our brothers and sisters or whoever was there was running down the steps getting ready to go to school. And I remember my mom saying, "Oh, you guys been bussed out today." And we're like, "What? Bussed out? What's that?" You know,
On the day of
being,
school,
yeah, the day of the school. I remember being bussed out. So we left one school that was in Portland, and then we all got bussed out to the school that we were going out to was Lake Grove and Lake Oswego.
oh my God,
And
Lake No Negro is what they call it.
yeah, exactly.
Wow,
So imagine not only a culture shock, but
wow,
so going from having your mom or dad taking you to school every day and then going on a bus
a long
and
ride.
long ride going all the way out to Lake Oswego that seemed like forever because
It
as
was
a kid, fifth grade, 10 years, and then as you're getting to the school is getting in view of the school, you see all these people. Now they're all white for one, and then you look and it's a bunch of kids. They're all lined up, and our bus, we had two buses rolling up, and the first thing I heard was, "Here comes the nigger bus."
mm,
And oh man, That's all they had to say.
And this was fifth grade.
Fifth grade, 10 years
So
old,
fourth grade Trinity Lutheran was in the inner city still.
inner city, yes.
It still was in the inner city, so you didn't have to travel that far, or
No.
it just wasn't. But then fifth grade, before middle school, you were all of a sudden bussed out to Lake Oswego, which is definitely 30, however many minutes, from the inner city, Portland. Um,
Mm.
Still to this day, pretty much not diverse. And you pulled up and they say, "Here comes a nigger bus."
The nigger bus. The nigger bus.
And you knew
Oh,
what that
man.
meant.
All I remember is when that door opened to let us out of the bus, I got off the bus fighting.
First day of school.
Like,
No warning.
first
So
day of
you were already
school.
mad anyway.
I'm already mad.
And then, it depends on what you were wearing, because I couldn't imagine you guys, we weren't taught or raised to be in the finest or to be in no Lake Oswego gear. And you might have had to pee. No, I'm kidding. Right? It's a long bus ride. But you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
like a combination
every
of that.
emotion you probably can think of came
Yeah.
out.
Who even know? And then you already mad.
Already mad.
My God.
Already angry because one, you had to leave somewhere where you were at least used to going to
And you found
every
out that
day, and
day.
then exactly, and then you end up finding out you have to go to a whole different school, and it's all white. I ain't
Yeah.
saying no, all
I'm
white.
sure. No. Of course, back then. It could be that today. It
Duh,
could be that today in 2020 in Oregon.
2020.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it really could be, in a sense. Some schools out there for sure.
yeah,
But so then what was that for your life, or what was that
yeah.
about? Then what even happened? So that happened the first day. What happened the second day? Unless y'all started school on a Friday. Like, what happened the next day? Like, how
No,
long did
it's
you
probably
last?
a regular weekday.
How
Yeah,
long
'cause
did
we
you
had to come
last, or
back
what happened
after the second day.
after the first day?
After the first day, like I said, we came off the bus fighting. At least I did.
I don't say
Sure, I
we.
know I got in trouble,
Yeah.
but I
How
mean
embarrassing.
definitely embarrassing. But I know that we made it through. I say we because the handful of us that did go, we all made it back to get back on the bus to return home. And I also remember going back home was always dark, you know. So
Gosh.
it was crazy because I guess time change or whatever, but it was always dark.
Yeah.
But not only that, it's just that I guess the culture shock
Yeah.
for me, the anger that I had already, everything was just all rolled up into one. And going back the second day, I remember now my teacher name was Miss Crawford. She,
Mm.
was, and I don't know, like I said, I went from knowing nice teachers to just like, okay, these are my teachers,
Regular teachers.
regular teachers. It
But
was
that would
nothing
be
different.
from when you guys were bussed out.
Yes.
So they weren't even trained or, in tune with
No,
schooling kids from another culture, race, or even neck of the woods.
exactly. So I can already sense the difference of that
Mm.
alone,
Mm.
like the teachers that you're so used to. Oh, this is nice, Miss, so and so, to like, okay, we have teachers now.
Mm. So how did that
So,
affect how you felt about yourself, pretty much who you were back then? And that's coming from ninth grade, not ninth grade, 9 years old, Jesus.
yeah,
Um, fourth grade, and this is fifth grade, being
fifth
bussed
grade.
out. Like, what happened in your mind, or what happened? Who were you then? Do you know?
I think wanting to go back to that invisible person that I always wanted to be, you
Hmm.
know, I think just to be not seen at all, um, just like feeling so displaced,
Hmm.
like you don't, when people say they really don't know who they are, that would definitely be what I would use. I, I don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Displaced. People you trying to make friends, well, no, because people are not accepting you because of your skin color for one. So but the second day, yeah, I think I remember the first week or so always getting in a fight,
Really?
always
So was there
trying to,
anyone nice? Were there any friends, alien? I mean, like anybody that it turned out to kind of be in your benefit to while you were there? How long were you there?
we was there for 2 years because fifth grade, like I said, that was fifth grade. Um, Made it through. It was rough. I went from being bullied to becoming a bully, you know, and that's usually how it turns out. You become a bully or whatever. But I felt like that's what I became because all the kids that went on the same bus that went to that particular school looked up to me to take care of them.
Mm.
So if somebody was like picking on them, guess what? I would help them out. I would
And
be
were
the
you
one
proud to
to
do
stand
that?
up for them.
Like, did
I,
you not
it
see
gave
how
me a
you
sense
became the
of
bully?
cap. I think I missed your question.
I said, did you not see how you became the bully?
Oh, I see how I became the bully. Yeah, I do. I used to start picking on kids and demanding them to bring me their lunch money. I became the
Suckers.
bully. Yeah, that. So yeah, I think back on that. So yeah, that was fifth grade, and then of course we went there for sixth grade, and sixth grade wasn't really that much difference. I remember having my teacher. Um, this is the first time I think now that I'm looking back now,
Mhm.
but I know now that my teacher sixth grade he was gay,
Yeah. Wow.
and I now can see, oh, okay, now I can see that,
Wow.
you know. So
Hmm. My fifth grade
so
teacher was.
your fifth grade teacher?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, mom let us go over his house. He was like in a nice house, I'm sure in like Southwest or something back then. But he and
Wow.
his partner, and we had pizza, and he had like a workout
Wow.
room. Yeah, we were over his house, and so
Man,
yeah.
that's
Um,
crazy.
but I mean, I'm just in retrospect now that you, like you said, think about it. We didn't know back then because
Exactly.
everything wasn't uh, exposed or encouraged or just what it is today. But I didn't. I had no clue until
Of course.
once you think about it, it's like, oh my gosh.
Well, of course. I was what, sixth grade, you're like 12.
Yeah.
So of course you don't really think like, oh, he's gay or she's gay.
No.
That really wasn't the talk, like, you
Well,
know,
we just weren't once again exposed or the encouragement or just everything that it is today had nothing to do with back then. And you're talking about 10 years before me, 13 years, you
mm,
know what I mean? And I'm talking about
yeah,
the 80s, you're talking about 60s, 70s. And so, yeah,
yeah,
no, I definitely had no clue back then, but now it's like, oh, okay. Um,
yeah,
and you never know.
definitely.
Yeah. And so, but
So,
even then, so fifth grade.
and then, like I said, we did, and going from fifth grade to sixth grade, I always remember being in trouble. I always remember, fighting.
Mm,
Um, just um, the one incident that really stands out in my head in sixth grade is, and I have to honestly say, I thank God that it didn't turn out a different way. But I remember, I'm not even going to say his name because I remember his name,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a young man that was in a wheelchair.
Mm.
And um, back then they had those electric wheelchairs where there's, they have a little knob, you go back and forth, back and forth. So I remember when he was in his wheelchair and I asked him, could I do his little, it's like a joystick.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, no, he was like, no. And I was like, please, just let me do it. Just let me do it, And
Mm-hmm.
so he was like, no. And I remember going to do it, and I was doing it all hard, back and forth, back and forth. And he did, he popped a woolly, and he was like, oh my God. And all I can remember is if he had went back and failed
Anything.
anything, and I those were those type of things you thank God for later. It's like, could you imagine him falling back in his wheelchair?
Somebody's
And all I remember is him just being horrified of me
Yeah.
after that point.
Oh.
And horrified. And I still see his face. I still can remember him, his name and everything.
You need to look him up on Facebook and apologize.
See whatever happened to him. Yeah, for real. But I really thank God that it didn't turn out how it could have turned out if he had flipped over.
Yeah.
So
Scary.
that was sixth grade. I was a big bully. I remember bullying a kid to the point where he couldn't take it no more. He went and got his big brother. Well, I didn't know he had got his big brother, so he tried to lure me into a place. Oh, my brother's bringing the money, so he wants me to bring the money. So my brother's gonna bring it. So I'll start walking, and when I started walking, I saw this big old boy, and I tiptoed and went the other way, and that was the last time I bullied somebody at that school because it was
last
like,
time
oh,
you bullied him.
Yeah. So I was about to get bullied again. I was like, ain't gonna happen. So I tiptoed and ran the other way and remember, going home from that point. But
that's a shame.
That was sixth grade.
And that's some intuition for you to see the brother or, I mean, you know what I mean?
I was like, man, I'm so glad because he was big.
That's what you get.
He would have mopped me.
Good. Messing with somebody.
So
and
that was
over. That was too. Like, you never know. Like, people do have family and siblings.
Yeah, people have family. When you mess with somebody, you don't know who is in that family line.
Yeah.
You don't know who they can go get,
Exactly.
But so yeah, that was my bullying days were cut short after that happened. And pretty much sixth grade, like I said, went by quick, a lot of trouble. And then we got transferred back into the inner city schools.
Really?
So we was out from 5th and 6th, bust out. And then we went back to 7th grade.
Was that because you guys got into so much trouble?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Was that because you guys got into so much trouble?
I think that busing was honestly, in my opinion, was an experiment.
Yeah.
They were trying it out and it didn't work out maybe the way they anticipated. So we ended up going back to the inner city schools, and I ended up going back to Trinity Lutheran.
Really?
So yes, because in 7th grade, I ended up going back to Trinity. And it's like, you can bust somebody out to a different school and you can bring somebody back, but if a person hasn't changed inside, you're gonna be the same person. So I went back to Trinity being the same person I was when I left back in 4th grade, basically. The same type of attitude, the same type of hurt, the same type of, So 7th grade, like I said, it just I went back there for, I think, about within that middle of that school year.
Yeah, really?
I went back there, and the incident that sticks out in my head, they all got a brand new, imagine a thermometer. The school got a brand new thermometer. Like, oh, wow, this is nice. It's almost like taking a field trip to the gym to see the new thermometer. And I'm like, wow, everybody's excited about this. So I I remember that
I'm scared.
after everything sort of cooled down and everybody went back to class and whatever, I probably was out going to the bathroom or something. And I went where the thermometer was and I went and popped it.
Poor mom and dad.
I popped the thermometer. And you know, if you remember what a thermometer looks like, it had that little red, like little,
Mercury and red,
exactly,
the lines.
exactly. I took it and just went bloop. And for some reason, why do they know it was me that did it? Because right away, I was in the office.
And the thing about it is, you knew one way or another how important it was because you guys just came like a field trip from seeing the thermometer. That is so sad. Poor mom and dad. It was like somebody.
Yeah, and I wonder, I was like, how did they figure it out it was me?
Huh.
But apparently that was Trinity Lutheran's last straw with me because seventh grade, they kicked me out.
Seriously?
And that was seventh grade. I got kicked out of school. I was home for feel like days, feel like months, not just around the house, not knowing what to do.
And so, how many
The
kids
last thing
were around? If you were in seventh grade, how many children were in the house?
that was one, two, three, four, about five of us. Cause it's about five of us, and everybody else was going to school every day. I'd be sitting at home we had an organ. I'd just be sitting on the organ like.
What did mom
So
and
one day I
dad
was sitting
like?
on the
What?
organ.
What were they
I
like?
was
What
sitting down on the
happened?
organ, nothing to do. And I remember my mom and my dad came by like, what are you gonna do now? They're asking me, so what are you gonna do now? I'm in the seventh grade. And the last thing I remember telling them was like, well, I guess I can go to the neighborhood school.
Mm.
And
Wow.
yeah,
And what school was that?
that would be Boise, Elliott. Well, at
In
the time it was
seventh
just
grade?
Boise. I went half of seventh grade to Boise, and then that remainder of the school year from seventh grade, I ended up going to Boise, and then I ended up coming back to Boise in the eighth grade. But you talk about a life really went sort of topsy-turvy. Eighth grade would be where I have to come back and let you know what happened.
My. It's almost like every 4 years is a a
I think
cliffhanger.
it's probably like every 4 years I go through a major change, and eighth grade change is like really, it's almost sort of like dramatic, like the fourth grade, but in a different
Really?
setting.
Eighth grade.
Eighth grade.
Oh my gosh. And so it's just such a adventurous but like the unexpected, untrending
Untrending.
adventures in life for such a young person. You know what I mean? Like all of the things, even the fights, the anger, the promiscuity starting in fourth grade, which
Yes.
changed who you were. And then it was more anger and bullying, not being bullied, but bullying. And then something else transpired in from seventh and eighth grade. Like all of this.
Yes.
Wow, my gosh. So obviously we'll come back and tackle that in our third
Yes.
week, our third show, which I'm pretty excited about. Um, but this is pretty much a series of your testimony, your story, your life, and who would have thought that, especially in our family and just in a human sense, like this stuff, was going on. It does go on, and
Yes.
that a person like you and knowing you today, like that, you know what I mean? Like it's just a part of your life, a part of your story. It's crazy. And by eighth grade, we're what, 12, 13? Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Eighth grade, we're 12, 13.
13.
Yeah, I'm thinking because my child is in eighth grade. So yeah, which is
Yeah.
very scary. Very,
Yeah.
very, very. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So some of the things I could share with you on our next show
Yeah.
at 13, yeah, it'll make you think about, like you say now. So
Well,
it's
I will be
pretty scary.
going directly to my daughter's room after we wrap this up. Um, but no, once again, thank you so much for being transparent, for having the bravery and the courage to actually be vulnerable enough to let people know and let people in on such, um,
Mm,
I guess, information that really can be used against you. But
yes.
what we do know is used for the betterment and for the good and the strength of somebody else. Because as we've known and learned, being a people pleaser and fall into the prey of just needing attention and affirmation and basic stuff in life can cause you to make some um, decisions that don't work for your
Uh,
benefit. You're young,
right,
but it
yes.
just doesn't work for your benefit. So thank you so much for even being willing to share week after
Oh,
week. I
definitely.
mean, like, we come from the same household, but my God, you helped me
Yeah.
seriously to be more transparent or
Yeah.
to be more understanding. There's so many different things, different factors, because it's information that you really
Right.
aren't expecting to hear. We're not even to your 13th year yet, in your story.
Yeah. We keep in mind I am 58, so we got a little
Oh my
ways.
God.
We got
A journey.
some journeys to go into. But yeah,
Exactly, which is pretty cool,
yeah.
which is pretty cool because you've, by God's grace, made it out to tell your story. But it's
Mm,
like, oh my gosh.
yes.
Anyway, so I guess we can exit with prayer. We didn't before we did a little prayer to begin the show, and we didn't do that. And every time will be different, or it just will be what it is. As you can see, we're
Yes.
grassroots. We're, just here and being authentic, really, to get Karen's story out. And that's just what it is. So let's just end with a word of prayer, and we'll be back next week. Uh, Dear Lord God, we thank you so much for this time and for this opportunity to have Karen share her testimony and to really share what's on her heart and just who she was, where she was, and um, how it was at that moment in time. And whoever that can benefit from this, wherever they are, just allow them to be ministered to be healed, and allow Karen to be healed as well, and everybody that can listen to be healed and ministered to, because this is nothing to take lightly. This is real. But overall, Lord, we thank you and we praise you for this opportunity and time. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, well, until next time, we definitely thank you, and we are honored to have your story and to witness what
Mm.
has transpired from your kindergarten, 4 years old, until 58, until today. Yeah, 58.
58.
So yeah, so basically
Yeah.
from 4 or 5 years old up until 12, and when we return, she'll be leaving off or picking up from the 7th, 8th grade year.
7th, 8th grade.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
we've noticed is every 4 years.
Oh, 13.
Yeah, 13. But every 4 years, something major has happened in her life. And that's a habit and a pattern that we are starting to notice. Anyway, Karen, thank you so much.
Oh, you.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome.
Always.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Yeah, it's always a joy and always a pleasure. And we appreciate you, and we are signing off. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for deciding that you do want to be here until the end. And we appreciate you, okay? All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
All right, bye.
God bless you.
You too.